Good morning. It's Monday, October 18th, and I'm back to talk about some more manifesting stuff because that's what I do during the week. My name is Annalisa, and this is myspiritualfriend.com. Well, my spiritual friend, but you can find me on my website at myspiritualfriend.com. You can find me on Instagram at myspiritualfriend, on Twitter at myspiritualfriend, but FRND because it's not long enough. It's the same across the board. I am a certified psychic medium. Words aren't coming out this morning. I apologize. A certified seance conductor, energy healer, and I'm a reverend in the Spiritualist Church of New York City. I used to be a nurse. I'm a stay-at-home mom, building a business, but also I have a love for all things spiritual, and I love sharing all of my own experiences through my entire lifetime of searching for what it is I believe and how I connect and sort of finding my own spiritual connection. And I want to share all that with you. And part of that is manifesting because I believe that we do create our own realities. And I have studied the law of attraction. I still listen to Abraham Hicks, but I listen to it with a little bit different awareness. I went to all different brands of Christian churches. I've been to temple a little bit. I studied Buddhism a little bit in college. I tried to, spread the wealth of my knowledge, but I'm not by any means um, well versed in the majority of them, but just wanted to experience them, and I'm open to other belief systems. But the thing that has stuck the most with me is the law of assumption. And that's really because I look at my own life and see how my own beliefs are what have really shaped and created my entire life. And hi, Ankur. It was very nice doing your reading this morning, too. Oh, thank you. You're going to give good news soon. So please please subscribe. If you share me with your friends, just make sure you stay subscribed. I know that sometimes a friend of my best friend told me that she shared my channel with somebody and then it unsubscribed her somehow. Um, so with the law of assumption, our beliefs create a reality. So if you believe you're not worthy, if you believe you're not valuable, if you believe that good things don't happen to you, if you believe people only show up in a disrespectful way, then that's what shows up for you. The universe goes, what's that you say? What do you want more of in your life? Um, that all happens within your subconscious. We have 70,000 thoughts a day. And whatever follows I am is incredibly important. So I encourage you to start really like perking up your ears as soon as you hear I am randomly come out of your mouth. Listen to what follows. It doesn't mean, oh my God, I'm ruining everything. Like if it's negative, we can shift everything. We don't have to stay in a state of suffering. We don't have to shame ourselves or blame ourselves for the belief patterns that we were programmed with. And it all happens generationally. Societal programs come into play. Um, it has to do with like beliefs that, men's roles and women's roles and all of that stuff. That all comes into play in how we create our reality. That said, you can shift it. And when you hear I am, if it's something that doesn't sit well and it feels terrible and it makes you feel sad, well, that's probably something that needs to be shifted and it's not in alignment with your higher self. I know when I start doing my affirmations, when I start saying them, my heart space starts to feel better. I start to kind of perk up and feel like a warm energy in my heart, I guess is the best way to explain it, an expansion of my heart chakra. So that's your intuition. That's your higher self telling you you're in alignment. Do you have to be in alignment with your higher self to create? No, because you're creating every single day. But you do need to be in your alignment with your higher self in order to create the things you actually desire and want in your life. Um, you are worthy of all of it, not because you have earned it, but because you just are a being. That's it. You are a soul experiencing human experience. Um, so what I wanted to talk about is I had two people sort of, and they end up being sort of similar. So I think it's a good topic, and I think a lot of people run into this. So when your SP, your specific person, and remember, an SP can be, it doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be a family member. It can be a boss. It can be a coworker, a friend. Um, it can be an actual job, like whatever it is, the thing you want. But in this sense, I'm going to go towards the romantic partner because two people sort of asked about this. One person about a specific situation, and another person just in a general. So one person, um, she's was seeing someone. Hi, Danny. Um, Blessings to you. So one person was dating a gentleman, and he was fresh out of a divorce, and she said everything was going great. Though when she told me all of the experiences, I thought, "Girl, you are accepting breadcrumbs, and you are worth more than breadcrumbs." But so she said, all of a sudden he sort of kind of dropped off, and then he came back and they had this conversation, and he was telling her all kinds of things, and she's like, and it was weird because like a lot of it was like, oh, we don't have certain things in common, and he was worried about all these, there was physical stuff going on. And I thought, well, what happens oftentimes is our fears, our doubts, our belief systems of not being worthy and valuable. We judge ourselves on our body shape. We judge ourselves on our um, how we respond emotionally. We tend to be very, very harsh to ourselves in a way that we would never ever speak to anybody else or think of anybody else. But that doesn't have to be the case. So I was reading it and I was like, oh, this is all coming from within you. Um, she had previously been a little bit heavier. Hi, Rosemary. A little bit heavier, and had lost the weight. But this gentleman was like making comments about that. There was all these like weird things that they didn't. Um, she's not fluent in his native language, and I mean, just all these kind of like very absurd things. And my intuition popped in and was like, "Oh no, you're the one who's concerned about the weight, and you're the one who's concerned about how you lost the weight, and you're the one who's concerned about because she needed some medical intervention, and you're the one who's concerned about that you're not the language. There might be a language barrier, and how his family would perceive that." There's so many different little things that I was like, "Oh, this is all self," and it was very, very clear to me intuitively. Um, So what do you do in those situations when you this person that you wanna be with is saying no? It's not a game to step away from that relationship and say, "All right, you do your thing, and I'm," and, like, you don't say this to them, this is all in your head, right? "Okay." Just like they're like, "No, no, no, it's not gonna work." And so you give them that space, you give them that, you don't hound them, you don't beg and claw and like, "Oh, I just like, like, you don't do any of that. And it's not about a game because what they're showing you is a mirror of what you believe about yourself and what you're worthy of within you. Those are your beliefs showing up outside of you. Okay? It doesn't mean you deserve that behavior. It doesn't mean you want that behavior. It means that these are your core beliefs about yourself. And the universe goes, "Oh, you don't think you're worthy or valuable? Okay, I've got this guy for you who's going to play this part. Let's put him in the part. We dress all nice and we'll be all romantic at first and like suck you in, and then well, I don't know if this man was like, and then and we're gonna show you that you're not. We've got that great guy to play that. You're not worthy. You're not valuable to let you know that. That's the mirror for you. That's what the mirror of life is. It's not that you are actually this unworthy, not valuable, not deserving, not beautiful, amazing, kind, emotionally deserving of a healthy relationship. That's not what the universe is saying. The universe is going, you want somebody to play that part? We got it for you. So this guy shows up and plays this part for her. So when you have that separation time and you still really want to be with that person because you're like there's some soul connection. I don't really believe in twin flames, but again, if you believe it, you create it. So if you want that, then step away and you don't want them to show up this anymore, go, what do I need to change within myself that's going to heal this and bring him back around? He knows who you are. He's thinking of you. And you know what? If we're this will get into the we everybody is you pushed out too. So he's doing his thing. Sorry, stretching my shoulders. um, and you're going to be working on yourself in this time. You're going to be doing the affirmations, the daily affirmations. You're going to be setting up, you're going to make lists, your to-do list of the things that you want to do for the day. Maybe you want to go somewhere and just experience something that brings you joy in the world. Maybe you've got real stuff that needs to get done around the house, and sitting around and feeling bad about how this person isn't treating you well. Take a few minutes to do that. That's okay to do that. But then, like, pick yourself up and go, I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am deserving of all that I desire. I am wanted. Um, I validate myself. I'm the only person who needs to validate myself. I'm beautiful. I'm gorgeous. I'm smart. I'm funny. I'm a great cook. Like, whatever it is you believe, I am easily able to regulate my own emotions. Um, uh, you go into all these affirmations about the positive stuff, and I like to write my affirmations down. I do it daily even when I'm not feeling terrible, because you know what, when you make a path in the woods and you're walking through the woods, the more you tread over that path, the more permanent it becomes. So that's why the mindset matters. That's why your mental diet matters, because you don't want to have to like go through and be like, oh, well, I watched this show about, this movie about, if you ever watch a lot of like romantic comedies, they're super dysfunctional, about like this love thing going on. And like, so that your brain doesn't know that that's real or not. If your own imagination, your brain doesn't decipher between the difference between reality and imagination, what do you think watching all those movies does for you? Reading all of those romance novels where it's like, I was super dysfunctional and somebody came in and rescued me. Um, that's where your mental diet matters, especially in that core part of rebuilding your belief system about yourself and building your self-concept and the love for yourself. I am lovable. That's another one. I am lovable. I love myself. I am love. Fill all of those things in. So you want to be focused on it. I write because it's a full sensory experience, right? So it's not just me. I feel like there's something very different between typing on a phone and actually writing on a piece of with a pen and paper. Um, you I don't know why. It seems to click more with me. So I'm in the moment thinking about what I'm doing. I'm focusing on what I'm actually writing on the paper. I'm physically moving it. So there's my sight, my thought, my hand movement, which is tactile sensory experience. You can hear if you're in the quiet and you don't have a lot of noise going on and background noise. Oh, okay. Hang on, Laura. I'll read yours in just a second. I started too. So I don't usually, I actually sit in silence a lot. I don't usually have, sometimes when I'm doing those, I'll listen to somebody in the background talking about mindset and manifesting and the law of assumption. But I don't have a lot of, I love music, but when I'm doing that, I sort of make it like a meditation. Meditation isn't about sitting in silence and not doing anything. It's about being focused on what you are doing at the moment. You can meditate while you're eating, turn off all the extra stuff, turn off your phone. If you get to eat alone, pay attention to the weight of the utensil you're using. Pay attention to the way it sounds when it touches the dish that you're eating from. Pay attention to all the feel of the food in your mouth and the smells and this different like there's different notes to food and everything else. Like, pay attention. That can be like a moving meditation. Um, there truly isn't an excuse for not being able to meditate. It's just being mindful and in the moment and not distracted. It calms your brain. It calms all of this, like the sensory stuff. Um, Oh gosh, I was rambling. I'm gonna get there. I'll find my way back to where I was going. So why I write in my journal is it's a practice I really like. So I write all of my stuff, and it sets me into like a really calm place. I always write, I am calm, I am at peace. I create this calm and sense of peace within me. I don't need to go outside of myself for that. I create the love within me. I create um safety within me. I am safe. I am secure. I do all of those things that I didn't. It's sort of like reparenting. I didn't get that stuff as a kid, but you know what? Like, I don't need somebody outside of me to validate me. I spent enough time in my life looking for acceptance and validation outside of me. And guess what? I was never enough for somebody else. I couldn't jump high enough. I couldn't go fast enough. I couldn't, all of those things. So, and it was because I didn't feel that enough inside myself. I know I'm not going to spend years blaming my parents and being angry, because that does nothing but destroy my own inner sense of peace. But I do recognize where it comes from, but I also recognize it's generational, and there's a giant system that it's connected to, a spider web of all these people in my family and the people they married. Because if you're not healthy, you marry dysfunctional, and different kinds of dysfunction, there's all kinds of truth to that. So you're part of a bigger whole, and you can't fix everybody, but you can work on yourself. So when I do my stuff, I sit down every day and I write the I am stuff to work on my it's a constant. It's not, people want to have a quick fix to manifesting, but when you manifest consistently and regularly, it's because your self concept and belief system around yourself is at a really steady and higher vibrational level, right? You're more confident. It's a healthier space to be. It is not abnormal or weird to call yourself or selfish or conceited or arrogant to say, I am beautiful. It is not any of those things to say, I'm good at what I do. You aren't saying, I'm the best in the whole world, and you're not in some weird, uh, out there, I'm the ruler of the universe. Your own universe, maybe your own experience. Um, you're deciding that you're not going to stay in a state of victimhood. Um, it's unfortunate that we get the programming that we get. It's unfortunate that it's part of a bigger system, but it doesn't mean you have to stay there. And when you start to heal, the energy around you starts to heal. It can't stay the same, because if your belief systems are about love for yourself and kindness, remember, the universe shows up and goes, I'll find somebody to play that part. And it doesn't mean that people are going to always show up perfect or respectful, but it does mean that when they show up in that way, you handle it differently and you respond differently, and the energy shifts all the way around it. So, when somebody forgets a meeting or something like that, instead of being angry about it all day, you set your boundary. You're in a healthy space. You're like, no, I respect myself, and like, I respect that you can still respect that person for not showing up. You just can do it in a different way. Instead of being angry and sending anger out to them, you're like, let's do this when we have the perfect time for it. um So when you're stepping away from this relationship where it's rocky and they're not showing up the way you want, what are you doing? You're working on your self concept. You're focusing on you, because spending time focusing on how they're not showing up doesn't change how they're not showing up. And focusing on how, oh, they're going to be this wonderful being, whatever, that doesn't change your self concept. So you're constantly going to be going back and forth, where it's like you have this big roller coaster ride of a relationship, or they fall away and then you pull in somebody new who does the same stuff over and over. So you're going to focus on you. You're going to take time for you, and you're going to know that you can add into those affirmations. People show up in a healthy way, of course, and you tell yourself the crazy things, because it's no more crazy to say like, oh, he thinks I'm the worst person in the world, because you don't know that. That's still a story you're making up in your head. To, of course, he's going to come back, because he's going to realize that I am beautiful, I am smart, I am the best match for him. We're so super connected. You come up with all whatever reasons you think are wonderful. We have great whatever. You come up with all of that stuff. So we have great chemistry. That's a safe way to say it. We have great chemistry. That encompasses a lot. You come up with all of that stuff, but it's like, I like the of course sayings because it's like, it's like it completely like takes away the any fear that you're like, well, I don't really believe I am, but it's like it just relaxes you. Say it sometime. You'll see. It just relaxes the energy. So of course this is gonna happen this way because and it relaxes your own energy and it lowers the intensity of things. So of course this is going to happen. Of course we're going to be together because da, 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 da. And then you have a list, your to-do list of things that you need to get done that day, and you do those things because then you can come back. First of all, it keeps you busy. It keeps you on track instead of being like, you go off into the days like, oh, I just miss him so much. He was the best thing I ever had. Like instead of going into whatever that is, or why am I not good enough? Well, you are good enough. And you're shifting all of that stuff. So if you have a task list, it kind of helps you stay focused and helps you maintain your day and it helps you focus on yourself and the things that you need to get done and be productive on. That's that. So then that shows up. So if that's a specific person where you actually know the person and you've been in a relationship and they're like, oh, let's break up. Now, can I tell you, is it going to take 6 months? I don't know. Is it going to take 2 weeks or 2 days? I don't know. But I know for neural pathways and new habits and new beliefs to set in, science shows this, to take hold, it takes 21, at least 21 days. I always like err on the side of more. And then it takes upkeep, like if you're creating a path, if you don't walk on it enough and you don't reinforce that path, like if you have a path in the woods and people haven't walked it in a long time, there's going to be a little bit of undergrowth that comes up. So you've got to go over it and weed it again, and you've got to reinforce it. Listen, you've reinforced those negative belief systems for years. And if you have 70,000 thoughts a day, you have thought those negative beliefs a lot. Remember that your subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor. So if you're sitting there going, oh, yeah, life sucks, like, oh, life sucks? You believe that? Okay. Like it just doesn't equate that way. Your brain is a very complicated thing and yet a very simple thing. So remember, like a child, before the age of 10, children do not understand sarcasm. Everything is very literal. So if you've ever been around little kids or you have little kids, you'll see that like they don't get the joke. They don't get the complex thinking. That's your subconscious. Your subconscious is very literal, very silly. It doesn't mean you can never make a joke again, but once you start understanding this, it's where you start to go, I shouldn't joke about that because I could create it. If you say it enough, you create it. So when people say FML, I won't say the whole thing. I'm really trying to clean up my language a little bit. So, because if you want to share it with your kids, because I try to teach my kids about manifesting and their beliefs and how they create things. I want you to be able to do that with them. Don't say those things like oh, life is a struggle. I hear that a lot. Oh, it's a struggle, man. Stop it. Stop it. Stop saying those things. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't mean everything is perfect all the time. It doesn't mean you won't have pain. It doesn't mean that things won't hurt sometimes, but you don't have to suffer. So now, what if you're in the place where you have a job, like your bosses always seem to be jerky and not very nice, or I know in this one person's case, I think she often has male bosses, and they show up not well in support of women. So what do you do in that case? You go into it's the same thing if your boyfriend is showing up saying, or your girlfriend or your non-binary friend. I'll try to be inclusive and not live in duality. You say like, oh no, that's not the real story. The real story is I'm the best worker they've ever had. Of course that they like are respectful to me and like want to do good things for me. Hi forever 12. Of course they want to do these things for me because I have great energy. I'm excited. I'm enthusiastic. I work hard. I'm eager to learn. I'm eager to grow. I'm a team player. People like team players at work, right? And I also know how to set healthy boundaries. I know how to maintain healthy boundaries, because here's the other thing. If you want to grow and go into management, you need to know good, healthy boundaries, and you should know them anyway. But if you're wanting to grow and move up, you have to learn to be able to say no to people. And it's okay to say no to people. No is not a terrible thing. It doesn't make you selfish. Be selfish. It's okay to be selfish, because if you aren't doing the best that you can for yourself, then again, you attract more of that energy around you, and those kind of people around you. So this all kind of comes into this idea, so you don't feel helpless, so you understand that you are more powerful than you are, because my tagline is empowering your journey. And it's been that since before I ever started, like for years. Um, if everybody is you pushed out, what does that mean? Does that mean you're controlling every single person around you? No. It means that we are all part of this, the same bigger energy. We are all just a little part of source. So we're all connected in. So imagine all of us having like an invisible little, in Judaism, they believe that we have a golden cord that connects us. And when our golden cord is cut, that's when we leave our body, and go and cross over. So imagine we all have these little golden cords that connect to a bigger ball mass of beautiful golden light. You have a direct connection to the source, and so do they. So if you're saying like, you know what, I am respectful, so that message gets sent over to them, and they have to respond in kind. Oh, oh, new programming. Oh, that person's good. That person's safe. Okay, we're good. Oh, that person's a really good worker. I'm going to respond that way. You aren't controlling anything. You're just sending in like, oh, hey, I'm reprogramming into the center now, and this is what I want more. And they send it down to everybody. So you're not controlling everybody. You're not saying this has to be this way. You're just saying this is the new program. This is who I am. This is who I show up. And so everybody gets that same signal. Oh, that's safe. Is this making sense? Is everybody with me here? um, I like analogies. I don't know why. I just like the visualization of it. I, I really believe in this stuff. And even if you're not in the moment, like this person had asked me about this specific relationship where the gentleman, they had, he has a different native language, or first language as she does. She had asked me because I did a reading for her, and her reading was like, she said, oh, it didn't come through perfect, Annie. Thank you for responding. She's like, well, you said we would be together and I said, I really believe this is a bridge of incidents. I really believe this is just like, don't, it. And it's not because I'm afraid to say I'm wrong. I've been wrong. But I also believe what happens is I am reading your current energy and the current trajectory when I get it. It doesn't mean everything lines up perfectly and the world is beautiful. It's like some things have to come into play for a reason for you to get that healthy relationship you want. Maybe it's because you need to focus on you. And the universe does really amazing things to make things come into play. Um, I realized I was doing a women's empowerment drumming circle. I do these on Friday nights, and I don't run them. I'm just a part of the group. Sometimes it's good to sit back and not run something and not be the leader, but just to learn and absorb. And she had asked us a question about our dreams, and I wrote down that my dream was to do what I'm doing now. But I said, oh, to do readings and share my spiritual gifts, and to help others on their own journey, to help them feel good, because I know what it feels like to feel terrible. And I know what it feels like to feel lost and alone and all of that. And I've spent a long time doing that. And I feel like I found this really good solid space, and it's consistent, emotionally consistent and happy, and being confident myself, and I'm seeing my life shift. And so I want to do this for others. Like I want to make this my career, my job, my business. And I realized by the end of the circle, I was like, oh, well, I'm already doing that. Okay, so what I really want is to do it on a bigger level and help more people. Because even in high school, I could sit in a room full of people and feel awfully lonely. And I found that interesting. And so when I went to college, I decided I'll never let anybody feel alone. So I said hi to everybody and I started conversations, because I would notice when people felt alone. And so I would just randomly say hello. That was just me. And just going to plug my computer in. And um, that's sort of my drive. It's been my drive my entire life. So I'm going to read some comments here instead of just chatting away. Take a breath. I had a reading with you yesterday, and you said two phrases I use all the time. I love the reading. Thank you. I'm glad you love the reading. I'm now reading about investments since my guide said I should be better about that, which is true. Oh, cool. I'm glad. There's a really awesome woman who I follow on um, Instagram, and I think it's called Her First 100,000. And she's got a lot of great advice. And then this woman named Sorel on YouTube, and her stuff is called uh, Advendantia, something like that. Here, let me see. I'll look and tell you. They both talk about, so the woman who I follow, Sorel Amore, SORELLEAMORE Finance. And her company is Abundantia. I think it's a goddess who was about money and abundance. Abundantia. She's kind of cool because she does this cross section of mindset and financial advice. And it's not advice, she says, it's her own experience. Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. See? So I think Suze Orman is another person who talks a lot about, and I guess for me, I like following women that talk about finance because unfortunately the men that I've known that do finance sort of talk to you like you're stupid or why don't you get this, or and women tend to talk about it in a more empowering way. And that's not to be, I'm not trying to be sexist when I say that. It's just been my experience. So I like to talk about my spiritual stuff, the psychic stuff. And hi, Rockdon. I was talking a little bit earlier. Make sure you go back and watch this. Um, I like to talk about the intersection between the psychic stuff, and because it's all a part of my spiritual journey. And I do believe, like, when a lot of other mindset people, they'll be like, "Do you believe in?" You'll see them do like psychics and all of that. Well, yeah, they're reading your energy, and like if you're in a state where you're like you're not sure if you're really in alignment, get a reading. I mean, make sure you go to somebody who somebody recommends. You come to me on my $5 thing. That's like, most people can afford that, right? When I'm not doing the mediumship stuff, I'm reading your energy and like where your trajectory is, right? It doesn't mean, I've had plenty of readings where I'm like, yeah, I don't know, like I'm clearly not in alignment, and I'm shifting that. I'm changing that. I'm not really, that's not where I want to be right now. Or that's not where, I don't have to be there. But I used to not go that way. I didn't understand the way you're reading stuff is I used to think like, oh no, oh, it's not going to happen for another 6 years. Well, I guess that's what the universe wants for me. No, I felt like I wasn't worthy of the growth and all of that stuff. I felt like I wasn't worthy of all of the experience. Growing this channel has been a little bit longer because I know that I've had a deep-seated fear of really putting myself out there and really sharing, because I had a sense that I didn't know enough. I wasn't worthy enough. I didn't have I don't have the coaching certification. But I'm a reverend. I'm a teacher of all things spiritual. And I've been doing professional readings for 13 years. I've been doing my, like really focusing on my spiritual journey for well over 20 years. And like, what makes me not qualified for that? So I had a lot of my own belief systems to that. And that's fine. And you know what? I got 1,000 people in this room that are able to listen and tap in and are already cued in. And I love it. And I'm grateful for it. And if you're new here, welcome. So Rose said, okay, my husband is a wonderful man and is not negative to me, but has a general habit of thinking negative. My girls and I are manifesting. Can he block? No, he can't block for you. You manifest right around that. Nobody else's energy has any effect on you. In fact, you could manifest him to not be so negative. You can manifest, like, the reason why, I mean, so this is the theory, and I know it's easier said than done. Manifest, even just decide like whatever he thinks doesn't matter because my positive thoughts are more powerful than negative thoughts. So, oh yeah, 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 you don't think that's possible? Okay, whatever. It's totally possible because I decided what I want is what I get. So maybe your husband thinks that, let's go with a vacation, right? Oh, we can never put aside money for that vacation because blah blah. And he's got a million different, it's like, it doesn't matter where there's a will, there's a way. The universe always has my back. The universe always brings me what I want. We have this vacation. It comes in sudden and an unexpected way. The money comes in sudden and unexpected ways. And some people are like, "Oh, you have to say it in a good way because their own fear is that if you do that, then you're gonna get it negatively." But, um, I personally have never gotten money in a negative way. So I just believe that, of course, money always comes in good ways because I believe I'm always well protected and safe, and my guides always protect me, so I don't worry about something bad happening to me. I don't know. Um, of course, like, we have health insurance and life insurance and all of that. I'm not prepared, but it's like I'm wise about it, but I'm also not expecting to need it. I just assume it's an investment because eventually I will die, right? We all die eventually. I'm just not expecting it to happen until I'm well over 100 because that's just the way I think. Um, but yeah, nobody can stop you. Hi, Kay. Nobody can stop you from manifesting what you want. How to break the trend, repeatedly think same pattern, boss boyfriend. Okay, so I talked about this, like where that's really about your self concept, and I talked a lot about that at the very beginning. So you should go back and listen to that, because you had asked that you had commented on one of the last videos. So I want you to go back and listen to that. But it's basically goes back to your self concept. You go back to telling yourself, like, no matter how they're showing up in the 3D, you just decide, well, that's not the real story. And they always show up in a great way because I am wonderful. I am loving. I love myself. I am lovable. I am deserving and all of that. And so you can't, law of attraction versus law of assumption. Law of assumption says I go in with myself and I find the peace within myself and my belief systems about myself. Oh, I manifest my spiritual gifts. Everything is sort of about timing in a way, and I'll explain that in a minute, but it's not about you're not deserving of it until it comes. It may just be that so many things have to come into play for that to fall into place, right? So maybe you're manifesting a very specific type of person. You don't know the specific person, but you want a specific person. Yo, Rose, you don't have to ditch them. Don't worry. um, so I'll explain that in a minute. You can manifest it opening up sooner. Um, Oh, well, you've been waiting, and so you're gonna keep waiting as long as you say, "I am waiting." Okay, so ready? Let me finish and then I'll let you know. Okay, so, it's not always about the universe wants it to be the perfect time for you, and you're not deserving of it until this time, or you're not re sometimes it's ready with psychic stuff and your intuitive abilities, and I'll explain that. Um, but, um But, like, as far as that relationship better, sometimes it's about, oh, you want this specific type of person with these beliefs, these looks, this, emotional maturity, this sort of job, whatever, like, if you're really whatever. Oh, well, we've got the perfect person to play that part, but a few things have to come into play in order for him to get to be the spot where you kind of meet up. And he's perfectly that person, like, he might have some growth and stuff to do. So it's like more pieces on the puzzle have to move in order to get this person here. Hi, Coco Chanel. Um, but it doesn't have to be like because you're not deserving of it until this time. Sometimes it's kind of about other people, or you want this specific job. Well, guess what? I've done readings before. I'm like, oh, they have to create that job first. So they have to become, so maybe you're putting it out there, makes somebody in that company aware that, oh, we should really create a position that does this. So they have to take the time, like the whatever, to write out the things. And that's why you're waiting on the job. It's not because you're not worthy of it, or like we're going to make you wait even longer because you have, it's like they gotta, like, there's a few things that have to come into play to make that happen. If you're manifesting, like, I want a free cup of coffee, that can happen a million different ways and super easily, and they can make 18,000 people. But if you're like, I want this specific thing, it's okay to want that specific thing. You're not being selfish or ridiculous or out of your mind. It's okay to want that, but sometimes things have to be created or moved around to make that happen, or that specific person has to go through certain experiences to be that emotionally mature person. And that's okay too. Okay. So when you're talking about psychic gifts, I did this. I mean, I've always had it, but I decided I wanted to open up and have more clarity in my clairaudience. But there was fear behind that, right? Because you get the Hollywood aspects of what it is to be psychic and intuitive and connected in, and all the things that happen. And so it was a lot of push pull at first. So I also had a lot of fear around trusting myself. And because I didn't want to let people down and I didn't want to be wrong. That's why I always just go, well, it's okay if I'm wrong. Like I'm not, and I also don't read in a should you type way. So if people will ask me, should I do this? I just want to check and make sure. Okay. Should I do this or should I do that? And I'm like, no, I won't tell you how, if you should or shouldn't, but I'm going to tell you what I see happening if you do this. If you make the decision to proceed this way, and if you make the decision not to proceed this way, and now you decide based on those things. Um, and I also put the onus back on the person. Like, yeah, ultimately, we as individuals are responsible for our actions and for our choices and our decisions. And that's one of the tenets of the spiritualist religion. That's why I love it. Um, uh, how did I get over the fear and by not caring? No, it's not about not caring. It's about fear is irrational. And I just decided I was going to trust my guides. That, okay, so maybe I didn't trust myself. And that came from my own childhood stuff and being taught not to trust myself and being taught like sort of lots of gaslighting and all that. And needing to look for outside validation and all that. So I had to just go, okay, I trust my guides. My guides have never let me down. So I might be interpreting it wrong, but I know my guides are giving me what my guides give. That's why sometimes you see me do readings. I'm like, nope, that's not it. I know what I'm seeing. And so you may be trying to fit what I'm saying into your story, but I might not know exactly what I'm saying, but I'll say, no, this is this. And I know what I'm seeing and I know what I'm getting. Because I know what my guides are giving me. So I may tell you exactly the way I'm seeing it because I don't know how to interpret it. It's not in my language bank. Um, and so so with my clairaudience, what I realized was it wasn't that I didn't have clairaudience before. I didn't recognize the way I was getting it as being clairaudient. And I just would say over and over, like, I am clairaudient. It comes through easily. And I say, like, my readings come through clearly. Before I sit down to do a reading, I do a quick little affirmation, like, oh, this person was so happy with their reading. I connected really well. They got lots of validation and lots of evidential information. I set all of that. I do it all as affirmations. Um, because I used to go in nervous and I thought, well, that's silly. Why should I go in nervous? I'm just going to decide that it's going to go great. Just gonna there's your belief system. I get nervous to read for men. I don't read for a lot of men. Like percentage wise, I probably read 95% women, 5% men. And I so it makes me a little bit nervous, I think, because men tend to be less spiritual and more skeptical than women. And I know that's like generalization, but generally speaking, that's what happens. Um, of course, there's lots of really spiritual men out there and really gifted men and all of that, but generally speaking, on a whole, and so I think that's my own belief system that I have to work past. So then I just decided, like this morning, I read for a gentleman, and I just decided beforehand I was a little nervous, and I knew that came from my old belief system. So I just decided, oh no, it went really well. We connected, and he was really happy, and everything flowed easily, and that's what I do. So even with my abilities, it sort of was like, oh, clairvoyance, I wanted to be able to, like, I have always been able to see energy and see things in my mind's eye or whatever, but I wanted more clarity, and sort of that Hollywood aspect of having the clarity of seeing something freaked me out. But now I can see like more color and more, it's a little bit more solid when I see spirit around me than I ever used to be. And I just had to push through that fear and just decide this was okay, this was safe. And your guides in the universe will always present it to you in a safe space. You will never blow up overnight with these gifts. And that's because honestly, you'll probably have a psychotic break. It's too much. It's too overwhelming. If I could do what I do now 13 years ago, I probably would have just been freaked the hell out, because it's so ingrained in us to be a certain way as humans. Um, but you don't necessarily have to wait until spring. And just because they're saying it opens up in spring, maybe they're seeing it as being full bloom, and the steps are already there. So it's like, me, when I think about success, I am successful right now. Like I am reaching people. I am getting to help people. I am doing private readings. I am doing what my dream job is. It's just not on the level I want it to be. But you know what? Like If I blew up overnight doing this, I would be so overwhelmed. I'd probably be like, this is too much. I can't handle it. I didn't, and if I really want to be successful and really want to grow the way I want, I need to sort of baby step into it and get comfortable. So 1111 can be, there's like two things to that. You can be, that can just be, you can go through and decide that it means something and find the angel numbers and all that. You can go through and decide that it means that you're in alignment when you start seeing stuff, or you can decide that, I mean, it's like it's a lot. Yeah. So, but that's where you're looking for numbers, and that's where the universe will bring your attention to. It's not that they're putting those I mean, it's like just brings your awareness to it. It can also be that like I always see it, so now you're manifesting it. I always see it, so now and then you're manifesting it. It's pretty interesting. It can be a combination of things. It can be that. So if you say I always see it, then you're manifesting. If you say whenever I see this, this is its meaning. You've placed meaning and value onto it. You're creating a language. This is what I teach in my psychic development circles, which start November 2nd, and there are spaces available. And I only allow 10 people in because I like you to get lots of personal attention and growth, and yet enough time to practice. It doesn't matter if it's on different cards. If you say you always see it, then your awareness and attention will be brought to experiences that will have you always see it. So, but I need to get going because I have other things. I have some stuff scheduled that I need to get done. So I hope this was helpful. I will be back on Thursday and then again on Friday doing manifestation chats. I have a psychic development circle that's opened up on November 2nd. I do private readings, and I'll be having a manifestation like mini course. And then I'm got some stuff brewing, like the little witchy energy I have. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful afternoon, morning, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And I will see you again on my Thursday. Have a great one. Bye.